What is interesting about the information that has been given in this channel regarding the Anunnaki is that it does fly in the face of the information that has been previously given. One thing that stands true is that in ancient Mesopotamia, there have been reports of the Anunnaki being gods. Now, we would not use that term because it has a connotation of hierarchy. We would more like to use the term higher level souls who have a lot of experience, who are able to dive into the darkness as well as the light.
Welcome to the Akashic Recordings. My name is Annette Dalloo, Akashic Conduit, Channel, and Spiritual Guidance Coach. What you're about to experience is an authentic Akashic Records session with me and one of my clients. Shared with permission and with names changed for privacy, these sessions offer a sacred window into the records themselves. By listening, you're invited into these beautiful stories, an intimate glimpse into the wisdom, healing, and guidance held within the Akashic field. You might even find yourself connecting to some of the information there, feeling some aha moments that the information resonates for you and your life. If you would like to book a session with me and be part of the podcast, please feel free to head to my website at infinitesoul.love.com. When you book your session, just make sure to check the box that you would be interested in having your session utilized for the podcast. If you have been wanting to learn how to connect more deeply with your intuition and the Akashic Records, I have amazing news. You can now join the waitlist for the next Soul Discovery Workshop. Simply head to my website, and on the homepage, you'll find a section for Soul Discovery Workshop with a button that says sign up for the waitlist. That is at infinitesoul.love.com. By joining the waitlist, you'll be the very first to know when the next online workshop opens for registration. Just enter your name, your email address, your phone number, and I'll make sure that you receive the registration email as soon as the course is ready to launch. And as a thank you, everyone on the waitlist will also receive an exclusive early bird discount code when registration opens. If this workshop has been calling to you, make sure you head to the website now and sign up for the waitlist today.
In today's session, we are joined by Arya. She is looking to have some clarification on her spiritual gifts, her spiritual journey, what she's here to do, and if there's anything that she can do to forward her spiritual gifts developing. In addition, she has some questions about her family and an encounter she had with the Anunnaki during her Reiki attunement. So stay tuned to the end of the episode when, during the discussion portion, I talk about not only the channel that I received regarding the Anunnaki in the session, but also I'm going to talk a bit about how that differs from what other people think or what I have read on the internet about what people define the Anunnaki as. So tell me, what would you like to talk about today?
Oh my goodness, a lot.
All right. Give it to me.
Do you want to start with a list of questions or?
Yes. So I typically like to ask for all of the questions to be sort of given to me all at once because the guides will weave together the story and tell us where we need to go first.
Perfect.
Okay.
Bear with me. I may have some weird ones.
That's totally fine.
So, what is my soul purpose and why did I incarnate in this life? From your email, that is a great one. What soul contracts do I have? How do I get more clarity in connection with my guides? Am I on the best career path? Purpose to me accessing the Akashic Records. And how do I grow in this development?
So have you already accessed the Akashic Records? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Are there any past life experiences that will benefit my growth in this life? And then I have big questions on my witchy connections, especially about druid connections specifically.
Okay.
Also, I've had some very strange things happen with the Anunnaki, and I would love to understand that what is happening there. Do I have any past curses or family curses? Are there any lifetimes that are negatively affecting my current lifetime? I've encountered so many people that are trying to help and trying to help and trying to help, and honestly, it's making my head spin.
So are these people that you're reaching out to and getting sessions from, or are they like peers that are just offering information?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
Also, people who have came into my life saying they won't stop talking about you and I'm here to help you.
Ah, okay. Got it. Got it. Got it. Yep.
Yep. Do I need to do any course correcting with my children? Where did my soul spark from? How old is my soul? Like, when was this? Have all of my incarnations been on Earth? How am I alternating the weather when I ask? And is it dangerous for me to do so?
You're not the only one. That's not the first time I've heard that.
Okay, good. Was I channeling or was it soul possession recently? What's the purpose of portals? Really trying to understand that. I ease the dark night of the soul at times. Are there any gifts that I am needing to develop more or understand more? And is there anything else that I need to know right now?
Have you had an Akashic record session before?
Yes, short, and it was while I was trying to understand how to access the Akashic records.
Got it. Okay. One thing that I would like you to do as we're going through the session is because you're going to be in the records with me. So
Okay.
I want you to observe what might be coming to you as I'm speaking. Because I find that, especially if you're someone who is in tune with the records, someone who has accessed the records before, that means that you'll be able to sort of connect to the energy. Okay. So
What?
you might see some things that maybe enhance the picture, or you might see things at the same time that I'm seeing them, that sort of thing. Okay.
Okay.
Your sacral chakra is on and off. Are there any past life issues in the sacral? No. Okay. So why does she have this inconsistency in the sacral? She's just learning how to use her manifestation energy. This is going to go hand in hand with her solar plexus chakra. She needs to trust herself more. Okay, got it. So then let's move that energy up to the solar plexus chakra. There's some sadness here right away. And this does have to do with a past life. I'm hearing I'm not good enough. And I'm hearing you question it too. So it's like, but what is good anyway? What is good enough anyway? What is any of that? You're starting to break out of that sort of idea or notion that you have to be a particular way in order to be accepted. Yeah, they're saying that this is also part of the dark night of the soul as well. It's part of what is being stripped away, stripping away the old identity, stripping away the old ways that you used to make yourself feel better, the ways in which you used to get validation. None of those things work anymore for you, and you're trying to find the new path. So we'll take a look at that past life that's having an effect on your solar plexus chakra to see what it's doing. You have a beautiful, well-rounded heart. You're good at giving love. You're good at receiving love. You're good at the balance of it all. There are very few instances in which you retreat or retract your love. You've gotten good at boundaries. You've gotten good at understanding when your love is needed and when maybe it's time to step back, and then not taking it personally. I'm hearing this is your crowning achievement in this life. The fact that you've been able to sort of master this is incredible. And it is part of why you did come here to this planet. And they want to reiterate that there's nothing that you're doing wrong in terms of not being able to connect to your intuition exactly the way that you want to right now. That it's a slow process. It's a process of uncovering and rediscovering who you are. And you're in that process now, and it's going just fine. There's nothing to worry about. There's some fear here in the third eye, fear of seeing things that you don't want to see, or experience things you don't want to experience. There's a fascination in it as well. So it's like this sort of opposing energy of like, I'm afraid of it, but I'm also curious. And they're showing me the druid connection. That is something that is connected to this. And so that we'll address that when we get into the records. Okay. You were a conjurer. I don't even have to be in the records to know this. Like the words that are coming out of your mouth are ritual, very specific spoken words, which is why you also have to be very specific about how you speak in your real life. Thank you to Okula, my Akashic guide. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you to Archangel Metatron and Archangel Sandalphon for being here as well, guiding us through the records. Today we are opening up the Akashic records. All right, so we're going to go to your soul purpose, soul origin, life purpose. It's going to be the best way for you to get an overview of what is going on in your human life. And then also it will answer several of the questions you already have asked. Angels, can you please help me to understand what kind of celestial event this is? I don't understand it. There are certain events that happen in the cosmos that humans are not aware of. We are giving you the best approximation we can by showing you the visual we are. The best way that we can describe it is if you can imagine divine source energy being a plane of some sort. So you have this vast energy and it is all the same. And you have another energy that comes by and punches holes through that plane, almost as if you have now a sieve where you have a bunch of particles of energy that have been punched out of this energetic plane. That is how soul was born, along with all of the others that got punched out at exactly the same time. It is a fusion and an alchemization of the energy at the same time that creates a different type of unique energy. To make it simple for you to understand, you can simply know that your soul energy was created from a cosmic event. We have often talked about souls being born out of stars or supernovas. It's the same type of situation, just in a different form. And so for each one of those souls that were punched out of the energetic plane, each one of you has a very similar soul signature. Each one of you also has a soul signature of strength and determination. There is an energy that is forged at times. When you forge metal, it becomes stronger. In the way that your soul was born, this is exactly what happened. It creates a strength in the soul. Your soul did not decide to incarnate on Earth initially. Your soul decided to observe many planets, many civilizations. You didn't want to settle anywhere just yet. You wanted to get used to your new form of being. You also wanted to help others who were a similar soul signature as you. Okay, so how was she helping the other souls that were born the same way that she was? She was a leader of sorts. In other words, she would gather the energies together so they could all have experiences together, almost like a tour guide. There were some of the souls that were born in this way that were disoriented, confused, and not knowing which way to go. And certain souls like hers were solidified in who they were immediately. And so she decided to help the other souls that were maybe not as fortified or strong. So together, she went with other souls that were in her origin to different planets to observe. And each place they went to, certain souls made decisions on the spot that they would spend time there, that they would go there, that they would incarnate there. So over the course of the touring, if you will, she had a group that was getting smaller and smaller. It wasn't until the very last soul decided to incarnate that she finally decided that she was going to incarnate herself. There's a particular planet that is not in this dimension, that is a high frequency planet. It is a planet of knowledge, galactic knowledge, almost a version of the Akashic records, but for everything that exists. She incarnated there time and time and time again. She had many, many incarnations there. Keep in mind the incarnations on this particular planet were not the same as they are on Earth. You do not forget the things that you've learned. You remember each and every incarnation, in addition to being able to transition into a different body while still holding on to the other body. It's a morphing of sorts. You don't get born necessarily. It is just a transitioning of form. So there isn't really death, so to speak, just transition. And all of the information that she gained from this place, she came up with several questions of why things would operate the way that they do. And it was at that time that you decided that you were going to start incarnating in these places. There are 3 specific ones that are the most noteworthy. There is one that is called Oxaris. It is a planet where you have very little life on the planet itself, but it is also mainly made of minerals, calcium, chalk, white elements, and blue elements in this planet. The life that is on this planet is very minuscule. They're organisms. They're not beings, so to speak. And when you read about this particular planet, you didn't understand why it existed or what the purpose of it was. So you wanted to go and explore that yourself. So you incarnated as one of these organisms. And on a microscopic level, you were able to see why something like this would be necessary. It helped you to understand that even microscopic universes within a planet can be important. Just because it is not a being does not mean that it is trivial. If you were to compare it to the plankton on your planet, plankton is incredibly important on your planet, and yet it is very tiny, almost imperceptible. It was similar to that. You then went to a secondary planet, incarnated as a being, had some experiences there, and then felt ready to come to Earth. You had the most questions as it pertained to Earth, because Earth and all of her chaos does warrant a lot of questions. So you wanted to experience these for yourself. You have been incarnating on this planet for quite some time. You're not as advanced in Earth school as, let's say, the originators of the planet, the creators of the planet. But because of your unique experience in other dimensions, places, planets, and the fact that you had spent time on the planet with all of the knowledge, it does help for you to be able to see different perspectives that maybe others don't see on this planet. Your sole purpose on this planet is to bring knowledge. You are bringing ancient wisdom from various different places that you've been to be able to help in various different ways on this planet. You roughly have had 200,000 incarnations on this planet, which is not a lot in comparison to many other souls who have been here since the beginning, who have had millions. You are familiar with Earth now. You're familiar with the way she functions. You have grown attuned to the way that she functions. This is why when you were asking about the weather, why you can connect to it so deeply and have the effect that you do. You have this way about learning something, applying it, and mastering it very quickly. When you set your intention to master something, it will be done and quickly. The only thing that holds you back is the fear of not being human, not appearing human, being otherworldly, if you will. But you have to realize that there are many of you here, ones that have studied the ancient ways, the galactic ways, who are helping here. Okay, I'm going to pause there for a moment because I know that that was probably a lot to digest. I'm going to ask you if you have questions about that.
Damn. Okay.
How does it feel?
I resonate, especially with the feeling of not or being scared to not seem human. I know I'm very different, and that is scary. I'm powerful, but I don't know what to do with it.
They're saying to me you do know what you do know what to do with it. There's a little bit of fear there, and that has to do with one of the past lives that we're going to take a look at. My recommendation is to let the information wash over you. You may not have questions now, but if you have questions later, you can certainly ask.
Okay. Am I the only one on Earth that has had this past?
Yes. You're not the only one of your soul origin, though. There are others from your soul origin, but you're the only one who has had this specific path.
Okay.
There are others here on Earth who visited the planet that you did for all of the information. There are many others that are here from that planet.
Do I know them?
Yes, you do know several of them, actually. So you'll have a certain resonance with those people because you all have the same or similar knowledge. Just like a library, you're gonna study different things. So you may not have exactly the same knowledge, but you do have at least the same frequency or similar frequency. Okay, so then what would be her life purpose, please? This is the last lifetime for you to do your shadow work, to clear all of the psychic debris and all of the things that you've accumulated over the course of the lifetimes. Because in the next incarnation, it is going to be imperative that you do not carry any of this with you, due to the fact that the job for the next lifetime is going to be incredibly powerful. You are going to affect a great many people here on Earth, and you are going to help Earth's ascension in your next incarnation. It's not to say that you aren't doing that now. You are, but it will be to such a great extent in your next incarnation that all of this old energy from previous lifetimes needs to go first. I'm hearing it's go time. So in your next incarnation, it's go time. So in other words, you will be the full embodiment of who you are as a soul in your next incarnation. And in order to do that, you have to be able to do all of the clearing in this one. And you understand it too, because it's almost been systematic for you, the types of clearing that you've done. It's like there's one particular subject and it's like, okay, well, now I have to clear this. Okay, so you go through it, you go through it, you go through it, you clear it. Okay, now on to the next. It's been very systematic as to how you've been clearing. Your energy field does not like the death process on Earth. It's one of the questions you came here to answer because you don't understand why the death process needs to happen. You find it unnecessarily traumatic. And that is something that you're trying to understand why it's necessary. You've discovered that the reason that it is necessary is that it allows you to have more vast and varied experiences. If you are in an entirely different body, it allows you different experiences. And in order to have an entirely different body that does not carry a majority of the energy from their previous incarnation, the death process must happen. It's a shedding, if you will. Otherwise, you would just continue carrying things with you over and over and over again. It makes it difficult for you to do human things, to live your 3D life, because your soul purpose and your life purpose are very spiritually bound and connected. It almost feels like living a 3-dimensional life feels a bit frivolous, but they want you to understand that it is connected. Everything that you're doing is connected. It's not that your soul is doing one thing and you just have this human body randomly doing things while your soul is doing other work. That's not how it is. You are actually working in tandem with your soul and your human self. Your human self is the vessel by which you can transmute this energy, ground this energy, and release it. Do you often find yourself doing something and just stopping and saying to yourself, what is the point of this?
I have, yeah.
What do you usually come to as a conclusion when that happens?
It's better than nothing.
Okay. What they want you to know is that everything that you do has an energetic impact, whether it's on a small scale or a large scale. We're going to give you the example of tying a bow. Let's say you are wrapping a gift for somebody's birthday and you decide to tie a ribbon and a bow on top of the gift. You might say, what is the point of doing that? The simple act of tying a bow on a present isn't creating world peace. It isn't allowing the ascension of beings all over the planet.
Mm-hmm.
But the energy does reverberate around the space that it's in. If you consider sacred geometry, changing the shape of anything creates a different frequency. So you have a ribbon, let's say it's in a straight line, and now you've created round shapes with it, changes the frequency of the energy around it. If you have made something more beautiful than it had been in the past, it creates a response or a reaction in others that can change the frequency. The difference is that there are times you don't know when that frequency is changing based on things that you've done, but you have to just trust that the things that you do make a difference, regardless of whether you see it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. They want to address the question you had about the Anunnaki.
Mm-hmm.
You've had experiences with them in the past. Anunnaki are a group of souls that you have been working with for quite some time. They are, in fact, souls that have spent time on this informational planet we told you about. They are ancient ones on this planet, on Earth, and they have been ancient ones on other planets as well. If you can imagine that they are similar to a deep and rich recording of all that is, they have a specific energy in their frequency that is allowing them to hold certain information that others cannot. There is a frequency of heaviness that happens with ancestry at times. And they are uniquely qualified to not only hold the heaviness of ancestry, but also the highest, purest form of light. There are few beings in the universe who can hold these extremes. The Anunnaki are one of those groups of souls who can do that. It is why people often fear them, because they see the darkness in them. But if they only see the darkness in them, that's what they're focusing on, because they do hold the heaviness, the darkness, but they also hold the purest of light. It just depends on what you are focusing on when you are connecting to them. And they will show you what you need to see in any given moment to be able to work through whatever piece of energy you might be stuck on. Can you tell me a bit about the experience you had with them?
It was during my Reiki ignition, Reiki Master ignition. And they just came in. It was golden light. I knew who was there. I knew what was happening. Actually, I have my journal right here. I felt their energy flowing through my body. The colors kept changing from pure white to purple to yellow, green. I could see their energy flowing. I could see them as golden beings, like light, glittery, sparkly. Know who they were. I didn't understand. And I could feel love. I actually felt them sending love, not darkness.
Beautiful. So you were connecting to that pure frequency that they hold. I'm asking right now, why specifically did they come to you? And they're saying because you called on them. You have been aware of them for quite some time. Your soul has, and you have worked with their energy before. They have helped you before.
Okay.
They have also reached the place where you are aiming to be. So the final stage of clearing the rest of the shadow work that you have to clear in this lifetime, this is the final stage before you can be a similar frequency to them.
In this lifetime?
In the next lifetime is when that would happen.
Okay.
So the benefit of the frequency that they are is the ability to dance in the darkness. Most beings, when they dance in the darkness, they get lost in it. Whereas the Anunnaki can dance in the darkness and still retain their light. So they can dive into the deepest, darkest shadows of Earth and that energy and help to pull it out from the root so that whatever healing is necessary can take place. The Anunnaki have no connection to this planet in terms of attachment. It is all just information for them. Understanding the frequency of a being, the goal of the being, what the soul is here to do, and understanding action steps that need to happen in order to get that being to that place energetically. The Anunnaki only work with people who request their presence. They do not interfere. They can work with general energy if it is not attached to a human, and they do. And the reason why they came to you in your Reiki attunement is because you requested them to be. This was something that was decided in your soul planning meeting. Did that answer the questions for you about them?
Yes. I was curious if they could let me know when my next incarnation will be. I know dates are difficult.
It is up to your soul. Your soul has given you plenty of time to achieve what you needed to achieve in this lifetime. Once the shadow work is complete, it will be up to your soul and you how long you want to stick around in this incarnation after that. But your next incarnation will wait another 50 years from this time. But when you decide to cross over from this lifetime will be your soul's decision. This is an unusual thing because typically our souls pick our death date for each incarnation. You did not in this life. And the reason for this is you wanted to give yourself every chance of success to be able to clear everything out that you needed to clear. This is why you have access to the Akashic records. It's because this is assisting you in being able to clear out these energies.
Boy, do I have some learning to do.
It's not something to dread, though, because it is something that your soul really loves to do. Your soul loves to learn. Your soul loves to figure things out. So even in pain, if you're in emotional pain, there is a part of you that is always trying to figure out why. Why does it happen? What is the feeling? What is the purpose of it? What is the release? But you're on track. You're exactly where you need to be right now. You had asked about your profession.
Yes.
Your profession is something that is helping you at this time, but it will shift and transition in the next couple of years. What are you currently doing?
Psychic readings. I work at a rock shop, metaphysical shop.
Okay. the reason why it's going to shift in the next couple of years is because you're almost playing too small. There will be a shift over the next couple of years that will expand your abilities. And there will be a time when you will need to make sure that you're setting aside time for yourself to do the work that you need to do, and make sure that you're not spending all of your time serving others. The way that they're showing it to me is, you know how you have teachers assistants in college where teachers assistants, they're teaching half the time and then they're, writing their theses or they're doing other things, right? That is kind of what they're showing me, is that like half your time can be helping others, but you need to make sure you're spending enough time doing the work that you need to do for yourself.
Like clearing or
learning, whatever it is that is called for at that time.
Okay.
And your clients are going to help you as well, because we always learn something from the sessions that we do. There's always some semblance of connection to some information that will teach you something that you'll resonate with, in terms of maybe it's something that you've dealt with and it's something that you're getting a message for a client. Those will be the little clues for you of the things that you may need to work on if you're in a reading and then you're giving a message about something and you're like, oh yeah, I had that thing going on a while ago. Like maybe I should take a look at that. That'll be your indication.
Okay.
Don't feel like you have to jump into doing Akashic readings for people just yet. Your access to the Akashic records for the time being is to help you to connect to your own records at times. You do connect to them in your dream state. And when it's time for you to start helping others with the Akashic records, the information will just come. You'll know in your session, like the information will come in and you'll know that you have to go into the records to get the answers for your client. But by that time you'll be ready and it'll be second nature to you. It won't be a difficult thing for you to do.
I do some Akashic records readings. I'm going to say baby shark style.
Oh, okay. Got it. Yeah, they're saying to me that like it's similar to what they were doing with me in the very beginning of the session when I was doing the chakra scan. They can just deliver messages to me without being in the records. Even if I wasn't in your records just yet, they can tell me, oh yes, this is from a past life. Yes, she had this particular thing going on. This is what affected this, so they can deliver us information even if we're not fully in the records or we're not, looking at particular past lives, things like that, but we can get the information nonetheless.
Okay.
Specifically when they know that it is necessary. It's not something that will happen all the time because it's not, how do I put this? Okay. When we read the records, we are in the quantum field. In the quantum field, technically you had already given me your permission to open the records. So even though I hadn't opened the records yet, the permission was already given in the quantum field. So therefore my guides felt that they could give me that information in the chakra scan before we even open the records. Does that make sense?
It does.
So if you're doing a reading for your clients and you're not officially opening the records, but you're getting the information, basically what that says is your client's soul is saying, yeah, it's okay. You can look at my records.
Okay.
Because if they didn't give you that permission, you wouldn't be able to get the information at all. It just wouldn't come. Okay. So any other questions about your job?
Man, I could use upgrade in the financial situation.
Yeah. And that's actually part of what's going to be happening in a couple of years, like over the next couple of years. I get the impression that you will be doing things more on your own versus for the crystal shop.
Mm-hmm.
And once you start doing things on your own, you'll be able to charge, the prices that you want to charge. You're going to be able to have a bit more freedom, it feels like.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so also the caliber of clients that you have currently are in direct resonance to the crystal shop versus having clients that come in that are in direct resonance with you.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Oh, completely. It's why I went to work for the crystal shop, because I was like, well, the better way to build what I want to do.
Yeah. Yeah. So the people that are going to come to you after you no longer work at the crystal shop are going to be a different frequency of human that are going to need your assistance.
Okay.
Right now, it's funny that you said like baby shark version of Akashic records, because that's what it feels like. It feels like a lot of the people that come to you in the crystal shop are kind of in their infancy in their spiritual journeys. Okay. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Everybody has their particular place that they are on their spiritual journey. But as you evolve over the next couple of years, your frequency is not necessarily going to match with theirs. Your frequency is going to start matching with other people who are a bit further along on their journey.
Okay. No more drunk college kids. That'd be great.
Oh, geez. Oh, yeah. That's not great. You may have seen in my policies, I do not allow anybody to get a reading if they've been drinking or done any drugs within 24 hours of the session. So that's something that you can implement if you'd like.
At this point, it's a walk-in situation. I mean, it's a mess.
Got it. Yeah. So yeah, you don't have a whole lot of control over that. Yeah. I feel like we need to go to the lifetime where you had the fear of, I'm hearing that fear of becoming too much of who you are. All right, so let's take a look at what lifetime we need to see. They're saying it's several lifetimes, in fact. The first thing I'm seeing is you being very vocal about the things that you see and the things that you do. And they're using the example of like controlling the weather, controlling the elements. And they want me to clarify, it's not about control. It's about channeling the energy of the elements for a certain goal, for a certain reason. You had a tendency in this one life to just do it almost like a party trick. And it was very ego driven.
Mm-hmm.
And when you did this, it garnered a lot of attention from the wrong people.
Can you see an era?
Yeah, let me take a look. This particular lifetime, because like I said, there were several that we're going to tap into, but this one, they're saying 1768.
Scotland?
Yes, I'm hearing yes. Yeah, I don't always get countries, but I saw a lot of rocks. There's a lot of gray, a lot of gray and a lot of rocks. So this was sort of, I mean, kind of towards the tail end of the witch trials all over the world. You know, the witch trials started like in the 1300s and went for like 400 or 500 years. But this was sort of towards the tail end, but not the tail end enough where people were not still in that mindset. In this particular lifetime, you were not killed, but you were banished, you were harassed. I mean, there were a lot of things that happened to you in that lifetime that were unpleasant because of your openness to show what you could do, but also because it was ego driven. It didn't serve a purpose other than to essentially show off.
Mm-hmm.
You thought that was the reason why you were being, you know, sort of quote unquote punished. You lost your livelihood. You lost your money. You didn't have a family, but you had close friends. And when you were banished, you were very much alone. Okay, so let's take a look at one of the other lifetimes. This other lifetime is Ireland. This one you did die. And this one you were being helpful. You were not being ego driven. You were actually trying to help people. I'm hearing herbal medicines almost, oh, it's interesting, almost like a version of Chinese medicine, because like I'm seeing you speak to a little girl and you're saying like it's too wet for her here. You need to take her to a drier place. Like her constitution, she can't be damp or wet all the time. Like she needs desert or she needs dry air. So you were sort of tapping into the elements of that you would in Chinese medicine without realizing that you were really doing that. And this particular lifetime, because you were doing all of these things, you did make a doctor quite angry because he felt you were undermining him. And he had you incarcerated as a witch and you were killed for it. Okay, so there's another lifetime as well. This is a more ancient lifetime. I'm seeing Peru, ancient rituals of blood magic and darkness.
Yep.
And the tribe that you belonged to believed that you had to go into that darkness and use the blood magic in order to appease the gods. But you just saw it as opening up your energy to things that maybe you just didn't want to open up your energy to. But you did it anyway because of the culture that you were in. It was just part of tradition. It was part of what people did. After that lifetime, I'm hearing in your soul planning meeting like, oh, crap. Really? Like, why did I do that? Because that basically just set me back several lifetimes. Now I'm going to have to like untangle all of this stuff that I did. And you were quite angry with yourself, actually, because you thought that you would be able to resist being involved in those types of rituals. And you just went along with it.
I was receiving the same.
Oh, that's funny.
Like, F my life. Okay.
Uh, yeah. You're like, oh, wonderful. Thanks. All right. I guess we're gonna have to go clean that up. So it's a lot of the same type of experience. So you opening your third eye in this lifetime fully, you do have a little fear in, well, what if it lets in something like that? What if it ends up being something dark? What if it ends up doing, all of these like sort of what ifs? And what you have to realize is each of those incarnations taught you something and you've learned the lessons from them. And you can always access the Akashic records to be able to connect into the wisdom of what happened so you can just understand that that is not something that you'll ever experience again. You are not doing this type of work for ego purposes anymore, even if you had in previous lifetimes. And just know that in the frequency that you are now and the frequency of Earth as well, the combination of your frequencies together, you can be as powerful as you want to be without doing harm. You've reached that level in your soul's development that it won't go in that direction.
Okay.
Maybe in some of your earlier incarnations it would have been a hit or miss, but now you've fortified the compass. Your compass has been adjusted to now it is always pointing in the right direction that you need it to. If ever you do find that you're fearful, dive into that fear and ask why. Ask where the fear is coming from, if it's coming from a past life or if it's something that is currently going on.
Okay.
So let's take a look at the past life in the solar plexus, please. What we need to look at there. I'm seeing you as a mother. This is in the 1940s, maybe late 1930s, 1940s. It's this sort of an after effect of that fear that we were just talking about. This little inkling, this intuition that's creeping up on you saying how powerful you are and the things that you can do. And I'm hearing you say to yourself, like, shut up. I'm just a mom. Like, I'm just a mom. I'm just a human having an experience, like just here with my daughter and my son. We're just human. And you really just kind of tried to push away that intuition, even though it was pretty strong in you. And there were several moments when you used that intuition to your benefit where you helped get your kids out of the street just in the nick of time. Like, there were sort of almost instinctual reactions that you had that were coming from your intuition that helped save your children from harm or, saved yourself from harm. You had a hard time trusting yourself and believing in yourself. And you also didn't talk about it with anybody. You kind of stuffed it away. And they're showing me what you look like too. And I guess this was indicative of how you were trying to control everything. You had dark brown hair and it was perfectly done, like perfectly curled, perfectly styled, just absolutely perfect. You had this little blue dress on and it was very like well fitted and, ironed and all of those. Like you were just very well put together. And I'm seeing white little gloves and just like the whole 9 yards. And you were just very well put together. And this was almost like a railing against what was going on inside.
Yeah.
Which was a bit of a chaotic situation for you internally.
Southern Belle, if you will.
I wasn't getting that image, but let me ask. Yeah, you're right. Louisiana. Is there anything else that we need to know about that lifetime in order for her to help clear her solar plexus chakra? No. The confidence that she has in herself and that she needs to continue to have in herself stems from the ability to understand that what she's experiencing is real and trusting what is coming up for her. It is essentially trust in self that she needs to connect to. Okay.
Do my other children have the same gifts? I don't think so. I don't see it right now, but well, we're here.
All right. So we are going to take a look at, so you were asking if her mediumship gifts are coming in, and the answer is yes, but it's not that they are coming in. They have always been there since she was born. They're saying do what you can to encourage her to use those gifts and help her to understand that they are real. You do need to teach her how to practice safely, but there's something about her being under your protection because she's your child, because you're in her energy field and vice versa. Like she is protected, but teaching her how to use the gift responsibly and protect herself is going to help her when she's out in the world, like as she gets older. Has some gifts, but he's unaware of them. They will develop over time. He's very sensitive. Like he feels things pretty deeply. He doesn't think that that's a gift or a superpower. He thinks it's a weakness. So that's something you can help him with, is to help him understand that feeling things deeply is and can be a superpower. It's just a matter of how to understand what to do with the emotions. So I'm getting he doesn't express nearly half of the things he feels.
Okay.
So teaching him how to express emotions healthfully is going to be helpful for him. I don't know why I keep on getting the number 7. How old is he?
18.
Okay. Angels, why are you telling me 7? 7 was the age that he started to shut this emotion down. That is the age that he will need to go back to open these gifts up again.
Okay.
So he'll need to explore like whatever happened at that time. And I'm sorry, your other daughter's name again? Oh, she's like a sweet little fairy, isn't she?
Oh, Fae child all the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's a fairy. I mean, there's nothing else I can say. Yeah, she's super connected to the earth.
I see that in all 3 of my children.
She has a much lighter energy. Like, it's just very light and bright, little mischievous,
Yep.
but light nonetheless. Yeah. She will find her path. She hasn't yet, but she'll find it. So you had a couple of questions about him, and can you remind me what those questions are?
If I knew him in a past life, and if there's any
Yes.
contracts between us,
Okay.
as well as what I need to do to help him. He's in law enforcement. It's rough.
So yes, you have had past incarnations together. Not a lot, but a few.
Okay.
He's a grounding energy in your experience. The last several incarnations, you have decided to choose partners who were very grounded in earth because you knew that you wanted to ascend. And in order to do so, you needed a partner that was going to be able to help ground you, because you know the strength of your power, of your soul, and you think that if you don't have an anchor of some sort, that basically you just might fly off the planet, essentially. So you need somebody who's going to ground you a bit, and that's why you have chosen him in several lifetimes as a partner. He's always been a partner for you. He hasn't been anybody else in your life. You don't have any karma together, which is nice. So it's like each time you come together, it's a pretty harmonious union. Yes, of course you have your problems, but it's not anything that creates psychic debris that you have to come back and work through. So we're gonna take a look at some soul contracts. So I would like you to imagine that you're in a field of grass and flowers, and surrounding you is a circle of trees, offering up that divine light protection. And envision that in front of you that there is a door, and I would like you to open the door and walk inside. This is your sacred space where your Akashic records are held. You can look any way you choose. In the center of the space, there is a pedestal with a book on it. And this is the representation of all of the signatures of all of the souls that you've had incarnations with, soul contracts with, any interactions with, as you have been living out your incarnations on this planet. All right, so let's take a look at the soul contracts for your 3 kids. You do not have any more soul contracts with your daughter. The soul contract that you had with her was simply just giving birth to her. Her soul contract to you has also been complete. Soul contract between you and there's some resistance there in completing the soul contract from his part. Your soul contract is that you were meant to guide him on his spiritual path for this lifetime. And he has kind of strayed away from that a bit and not really decided that he was going to fully go on path he was meant to before now, but he still has plenty of an opportunity to open up. It's why things have been so hard for him. It's because he's been resisting his path, and the universe keeps on trying to put him back on his path, and he keeps on resisting that. So oftentimes things get more difficult for us when that happens. And there's nothing you need to worry about there. It's just something that will continue on and will be complete when it's ready. Does she have any soul contracts with her husband or her partner? No. They specifically don't have any soul contracts because they need to be free, and the psychic debris that can be created by contracts can be limiting. So they have decided to keep things very open energetically. Okay, that's interesting. Have you ever been married?
Yes, very, very bad marriages and relationships. My relationship past is a fright.
But you're not you're not in a marriage now, though. This is your partner, correct? And are you intending on getting married at any time in the rest of your life?
If he has it his way.
Did you just say if he has his way?
Yes.
All right. So it's better that you don't, but if it's something that he really, really wants, and it's something that you want to give to him to be able to be married, that's perfectly fine. Just make sure that your vows are very specific. Okay. No, I will love you forever. No, from now until the end of time, like none of that kind of language. What I was saying earlier about you being somebody who was an orator, that you would speak words into existence. This is a very important piece of this experience. So if you do get married, just make sure that your vows are written as such, that it is just for this lifetime, that it is just for the time that you are meant to be together for this lifetime. Okay. Does she need to clear out any soul contracts or anything from her previous marriage vows? No. Okay. They're all cleared. Okay, good. She had asked about curses. Does she have any curses on any ancestral line? No. Any curses she has on herself? No. Okay. Can I ask why you had asked about that?
I think mostly because of, I've been in abusive relationship after abusive relationship. My last husband tried to kill me.
Oh, wow.
My son has a horrible, very difficult medical condition that's created lots of hospital time and art. I'm like, what did I do?
Oh, okay. Got it. They're all sort of separate individual situations. So your son, as I mentioned, it's the soul contract that you have with him. You did choose to help him with this, to help him get on his path. Your ex-husband was you denying your intuition. They're saying to me that you knew before you married him.
I did.
You knew in your heart that it was something that you didn't want to do.
Yeah.
And this is along the lines of the lesson that you're learning in this lifetime, is to not diminish yourself, to not diminish your intuition, to listen to it, to not push it aside and say, no, that's nothing. That's nothing. It's very much like the previous lifetime we looked at that was just before this one, the one that was in the 1940s, where you pushed your intuition aside most of the time. And so this was a result of you not listening to your heart. But again, it was rooted in fear of being alone, fear of not fitting in, fear of not having all of the things that they say that you're supposed to have in life. If you would have walked the path you wanted to walk from a very young age, you wouldn't have done half the things that you did. So it was a combination of feelings of obligation based on societal norms of what you're supposed to do, in addition to going against your intuition. All of that is done now, though, yes. Meaning that the periods of strife and abuse and pain, like those are done as of now, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So they're saying to me that there just came a point where you locked into your highest timeline, to the place where you were supposed to be with your intuition. And that's when everything started falling into place. So when you look back on it, that's how you know in your intuition that was exactly what was happening, because you can almost pinpoint the moment where you shifted and where you started following your path. And then things just got exponentially better from there. Not to worry, it's not going to happen again. The medical condition that your son has, is it psychological?
No.
You were asking me earlier, okay, that was one of the questions in the beginning, was you were asking what was the reason for his illness? He's processing grief. He's processing grief from previous lifetimes.
Jeez. Okay. He has a condition called renal tubular acidosis with associated hearing loss. Profoundly deaf at high frequency, gets severe kidney stones. His metabolic acidosis goes wild. He becomes basically very, very acidic. Have high doses of potassium to balance that back out.
Yeah, I'm just getting that so much of that is lodged in his, it's like lodged in his joints. It's lodged in his organs, like everything from his past lives. It's just like it was stuck there for so long that it's finally being released and dislodged, and it's kind of all over the place. This is why he needs to feel his emotions. It's forcing him to feel it.
That makes sense.
I am seeing that there will come a point, though, in his adult years that he will be able to kick this, and he will be able to function normally once the energy is gone.
Is there any way to expedite that?
Yes and no. The problem is that when you have a situation like this, where there is so much energy that needs to be released and so much emotion that needs to be released, if you release it too quickly, it's going to be harder on the body. So his body is releasing it at a rate that is safe for him to release it so he doesn't destroy his body.
Okay.
It's something that you can expedite a little bit by helping him learn how to move through his emotions, maybe teach him breath work, maybe teach him various different modalities that would help him get emotions out, like EFT tapping, things like that.
Okay.
You can teach him things like that. His body is still going to release it at a rate that is safe for him. That's not going to make things exponentially worse.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I had a client once who she decided she was going to go and do this, 6-month retreat down in Mexico for shadow work and healing. And she did. And she came back and she had like the most ridiculous of, physical ailments. She ended up in the hospital, like all of these things. And I was like, well, it doesn't surprise me because you basically just did an intensive release of all of these things and you didn't give your body a chance to catch up. So a lot of times that's what ends up happening. And the problem is that when you're already in it, like that's not the time to necessarily try to expedite things because your body is already fatigued.
He was born with all of that. So that makes complete. Okay.
Yeah. He came into this life with it.
Mm-hmm.
Last but not least, we just have a few minutes left. I'm going to ask about people that were giving you information about you and they were saying, oh, I have a message for you and my guides are telling me this about you and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know when something is meant for you. You can feel the resonance of it. There are times when you'll just be speaking to somebody and maybe they're not even spiritual, but they'll say something and you know it's a message for you. It is no different from your spiritual friends. If it resonates with you, if it hits you in a particular place that you know to be true, then take it.
Okay.
If it doesn't resonate or if you feel resistance to it, just put it aside for now. Understand that every single person is going through their own spiritual journeys and they do have a stake in how they're perceived. And sometimes people want to be perceived as connected all of the time and always getting messages. And it's not to say that the messages are wrong. It's to say that maybe the messages aren't for you. Maybe they're for somebody else. And you have to understand that your intuition is your highest authority. If somebody else is giving you information, you need to decide whether or not to take it or not.
Okay.
Use your discernment. You know how to use it and you know in your intuition when something is correct. And it's not to say that any of these friends of yours are meaning you harm. They're not. They're thinking that they're being helpful. And if you want to, you can also draw a boundary. You can say, hey, look, if I need a reading or if I need information where I might be stuck or if I need reassurance on my intuition, like I'll ask you, but I would prefer if you don't just read me from the second I walk in the door.
Okay.
Okay.
His situation has been rather different. I didn't know him. He came into my life saying that basically the universe kept screaming my name in his head, telling him to help. He's a witch, and I mean a very, very creepy, powerful witch. Good, intelligent, like 172 IQ. But there's just something that I can't put my finger on that I'm like, I'm connected to him, I feel like, and I don't know how.
Okay. Yeah. When I was giving you the information just now, that was about just your general circle.
Okay. I gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. So let's take a look at his energy. He's funny.
Oh yeah.
He's like, get out of my energy. I don't know you. That's funny. He's got good protections up. I'll give him that. That's hilarious. Oh my God. You'll have to tell him that. That's really funny. I'm explaining to him who I am. Hold on.
He's not gonna like this.
He's fine with it, actually. He's like, okay. I just said I'm giving her an Akashic record reading and I just want to check in with you. He said, that's fine. Okay. You two do know each other from a previous life and you two used to be like thick as thieves and you got up to all kinds of mischief together. So he's trying to help you to understand and wake up to the connection that you have. And you're like, yeah, but it's a little scary because last time we were together, we didn't do some great things. And so there's this fear of that going to the dark side kind of situation, even though like what you did wasn't super dark side. It was more mischievous than anything, but like it was kind of your connection together was almost like the perfect blend of intuition and mischievousness. And so like you could almost like egg each other on into doing things that you probably wouldn't do on your own.
Oh, that resonates.
So just know when to put up boundaries and do the things you need to do. And so they're showing me like he has no ill intention towards you. Like yeah, I mean it's fine, but they're showing me this guy that I met several months ago. And it was just at a dinner party and we started talking about this stuff and he started talking about how he drinks blood and does blood magic and all of this stuff. And I was just like, okay, cool. I was like, well, look, I'm not into any of that stuff. And I find a lot of it to be quite dangerous in terms of your energy field. So, like, that's not something that I would like to be involved in, you know? So, it's not to say that he's asking you to do that. I'm just saying, like, if there is something that comes up that's you're like a hard boundary, like, no, listen to your intuition and just say, okay, that's great that that's what you're doing. That is not something that I do. And that's not something that I'm willing to do.
Okay.
So just know that you can trust your intuition, trust your gut, and know that he is there to help you, certainly, but he's also on his own path, and his path doesn't need to be your path.
Okay.
So we are going to close the Akashic Records. I would like to thank Akula, my Akashic guide. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you to Archangel Metatron and Archangel Sandalphon for being here and guiding us through the records today. The records are closed. The records are closed. The records are closed. Thank you. How do you feel?
Ooh, like a whirlwind.
Yeah, that was a lot.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it is.
So I'm going to recommend that you take a few days, drink some water, take some rest. Don't listen to the session again until maybe a week or two has gone by, because I want you to just integrate the information as opposed to try to mentally understand it. Okay. And then once you decide to listen to it again, you'll probably pick up some things that you didn't pick up on before. And of course, I'm here if you have any questions.
Okay.
All right.
Oofta. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Have a good day.
You too. Bye. I would like to thank Arya so much for allowing me to record her session for the benefit of the podcast. Welcome back. I am so happy to be here with you. I have missed all of you in our little break, and I know this break has been a little longer than usual, but I did need the time, so thank you so much for your patience. Today's session is incredibly layered with a lot of questions that I have for the guides that I would like to channel some information about. The very first thing I want to talk about is the information about the Anunnaki. And keep in mind, I really didn't know who the Anunnaki were until I actually was in this session. So I had no preconceived notion of who they were, what the lore was, and that sort of thing. And I'm going to dive a little bit into that on this discussion about the channel versus what people sort of know out there or what theories there are out there regarding the Anunnaki. The other thing that I would like to ask is every soul completely unique in their history and experience? So oftentimes the guides will give me an idea that we're all a little bit like fingerprints, that everybody is just slightly different. I want to know if that's the case for all souls, no matter where you're incarnating, or if that's just us. What is the actuality about the uniqueness of souls? And then on top of that, what would happen if we retained our memories from previous lifetimes? Like, how would it change our experience? Another question I would like to ask is, how do we know that we are changing the frequency of this planet, of this world? And last but not least, in this session, we talked a lot about her children and her daughter specifically being open to her mediumship gifts since birth. And the guide specifically said that she is under her mother's protection. And I want to know if that's always the case, if children are always under the parents' protection when they have their spiritual gifts open, or if that is a case-by-case basis. So we're going to talk about that as well. All right, so I'm going to check in with the guides to see what questions they would like to answer first. We're going to talk about the uniqueness of souls first. We think this is an incredibly interesting idea for you to explore. The first thing that we would like to say about this is that every soul is in fact unique as it has been individuated from divine source energy. If you can imagine, they're almost like little tendrils of the main soul of the universe, little tendrils that reach out and have various experiences. On occasion, those tendrils continue to explore and stay almost separated from the main soul of the universe, from all that is. And then there are other souls that will return to the one. It is entirely up to that particular soul's journey. When you take a look at the soul as it is separated from the one, and we don't like using that word separated because you are never fully separated. But for the sake of what we are speaking of, it is important to make that distinction that there is a portion of all that is the soul, the main soul of the universe, that does get to separate to go have its own experiences. There is always that thread of connection, but it is free to have the experiences that it wants to have. When Annette talks about soul origins in these sessions, she talks about how souls are born, so to speak. And that's exactly what she is speaking of. She is speaking of a soul that is separating itself from the one, from divine source energy, in order to go have all of these experiences that it wants to have. Understanding and knowing that that connection is always there. Once the soul has those types of experiences, it changes the energy of that particular portion of divine source energy. It does make it unique. If you can imagine, it is like feeding information into a computer, if you will. So if you want to think of a personal computer like your laptop being a soul, but it is connected to the internet, and then it is connected to, let's say, a main server somewhere else. It is very similar to that. So you are constantly feeding the information to the main server. Eventually, there will be similarities in souls based on the experiences you have. Can there be absolute uniqueness in every single soul? Certainly. But over time, after having millions of lifetimes incarnated in various different planets and dimensions and galaxies, you will end up almost back where you came from with all of this knowledge, all of this information, all of this energetic gain. And ultimately, souls will come to a point where they are very much the same. On your journey, yes, you are all unique as fingerprints or snowflakes. But the closer you get to being part of the one again, the more similar you become, given the fact that you have been feeding this information to the one the entire time. This begs the question, why can't we know about all of these incarnations that we have? And there are some planets that you can know what your previous incarnations were. There are some experiences that require that. It just so happens that your experience on Earth and several other planets as well, several other places have this rule as well, where if you were to know what was going to happen, it would change and shift how you would move through that particular lifetime. So if you had the knowledge that you had gained, let's say in the last several lifetimes, you could possibly deduce how something might occur based on the historical data that you have. So not having any preconceived notions based on previous lifetimes allows you to explore new avenues, new energies, new ways of being, new experiences. If you carried all of those experiences with you, you would most certainly make different decisions in this incarnation. This is why there are times when you are not meant to know the future, when you're not meant to know or remember the past. This is why this idea of living in the present moment is so important on this planet, is because it is something that is part of the experience that you signed up to have. If you didn't want to have that experience, you would be on another planet somewhere where you don't have those rules. So just remember that this is something that your soul is wanting to experience. It's wanting to have that journey that is allowing you to experience things in a different way, make different decisions, do things in a different way. And yes, we understand it can be frustrating sometimes, but it is something that can teach you volumes of information that would not be otherwise had. Okay, great. Thank you. You had another question that was about how do you know if you are changing the frequency of Earth? And to answer that question, we would simply like to say that it is impossible for you not to change the frequency of Earth. If we go back to the analogy of each individual soul being a laptop and then there being a main server somewhere that it is feeding information to, you can use that same analogy for Earth and all of her inhabitants. So you're all contributing to the Earth's collective energy. For a long time, the collective energy was solely based in ego. But there were times before that where the Earth was more aligned. Annette has talked about this before in a lot of her sessions, where some of the earlier incarnations of people on this planet, people were much more connected. Things were a lot less ego-based. Things were more connected to soul and energy and sharing of Earth's treasures and keeping the idea that love is the only energy that can move you forward. Now, we're saying that understanding that there is shadow and light on this planet, and shadow can propel you forward as well, but it propels you forward in a different kind of way. It shows you where there is great misalignment so you can return back to that love energy. And Earth has oscillated between those two things for millions and millions of years. You can tell that you are changing the frequency of the planet because of the amount of people who are now connecting into their soul, how they feel, unplugging from the matrix, so to speak, unplugging from the societal standards that have been put in place by people centuries ago. And some of these rules don't even make sense anymore. Rules are meant to be changed and broken. And it is because of this that many people are able to start anchoring in a new frequency on the planet. And of course, because this is a dualistic planet, you have the light and the shadow of that. And that is an interesting segue because you speak about the Anunnaki in this session. When you talk about the Anunnaki, you're talking about beings who are able to dive very deeply into the shadow and also reach the highest levels of light. What's interesting about that is that not every soul is meant to do that. Not every soul is capable of doing that. For example, if you have an angelic who has not had a lot of incarnations on physical planets as physical beings, it might be very difficult for that soul to dive into shadow because it hasn't spent that much time there. Diving into shadow requires a lot of practice and a lot of experience. So you can dive into the shadow and get out of it without it keeping you stuck in cycles or repeating patterns. It does take a very specific type of soul to be able to dive into both spectrums of duality. What is interesting about the information that has been given in this channel regarding the Anunnaki is that it does fly in the face of the information that has been previously given. One thing that stands true is that in ancient Mesopotamia, there have been reports of the Anunnaki being gods. Now, we would not use that term because it has a connotation of hierarchy. We would more like to use the term higher level souls who have a lot of experience, who are able to dive into the darkness as well as the light. This is something that has happened in the course of history where previously, without having terminology that is needed in order to express or explain what they are experiencing, cultures of the past would call a group of energetic beings gods because they had no other language or they had no other idea of what that could be. This is why many cultures would be considered polytheistic because they worship various different gods. Well, they're not worshiping gods per se. They are working with various different higher level beings, higher level souls. And a lot of the lore out there connects the Anunnaki to aliens as well. We do talk about aliens on occasion, and it's a word that we don't prefer to use because it is not something that is beneficial because it has a particular connotation here on this planet. Every single soul in the universe has had lifetimes on different planets. So by definition, we're all aliens, I guess, in some way. So from that perspective, you have to understand that, yes, the Anunnaki could be considered aliens, but not in the way in which they've been described in various texts and various translations by various conspiracy theorists or scholars. They are simply another form of higher level being that has been connecting to people here on this planet for millions and millions of years. They were not always called the Anunnaki. They have been called various different things over the course of time. One of the things that is important to understand and realize is that they are here to help. They are not here to enslave or to create humanity. That was not something that they did. These are all things that have come up in various texts or information, and we want to set the record straight that it is not accurate as it is written. Okay, thank you so much, Akula. That is super, super helpful. I find it fascinating because when I found out the Anunnaki were originally stated to be from Babylon and Mesopotamia, that piqued my interest given the fact that my lineage and my culture is from Mesopotamia. So Chaldeans are directly descendant from the Assyrians, which date back all the way to Mesopotamia. So the place where my father was born, which was Mosul, Iraq, is a place that would be definitely tied and connected to this type of history, lore, information, that type of thing. And yeah, so to learn about it was fascinating for me as well. And maybe someday I will ask the Anunnaki to do a channeling for us. Okay, so the last question I would like to address is regarding Arya's daughter and the fact that she has her mediumship gifts, and they said that she was under her mother's protection. So Akula, can you answer that for us? Like, is it always that children are under their parents' protection as it pertains to their spiritual gifts? Not necessarily. There are times when children are born with their gifts wide open, and the parents are not necessarily equipped to protect the children on an energetic or spiritual level. That is simply a case-by-case basis. So in Arya's case, she did incarnate with her children, all of her children, knowing that she would be able to energetically protect them while they develop their own spiritual gifts. Okay. So that is a decision that is made in the soul planning meeting. That is correct. Well, thank you so much, Akula. Thank you so much for answering all of my questions today. Thank you to all of you for listening. I'm sending you tons of love, and I will speak with you next week.
If you've been enjoying this podcast, it would mean so much if you could like, share, and subscribe wherever you listen, whether that's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any other platform. And if you feel inspired, leaving a review is always appreciated. If you're following along on YouTube, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss a new episode of the Akashic Recordings. Also, if you feel called to work with me personally, you can book a session at any time at infinitesoullove.com. Everything can be scheduled directly on my website. Thank you so much for your support, and I can't wait to connect with you again next week.